Hello, a very good evening. Today we are here to discuss the developments that are going on in Bihar at the moment. Raghav ji, namaskar. Thank you so much आपका time देने के लिए and welcome to Swarajya sir.
कोई बात नहीं, आजकल तो अभी कोर्ट का छुट्टी है till about next week, so that's all right. अभी my time is not so precious right now.
अच्छा, हाँ अब तो लॉन्ग वीकेंड है ना, तो आपका कोई प्लान्स है कुछ मूवी देखने के लिए? बिकॉज इवन
हाँ,
द
मैं
मूवीज
have come to this like a touristy destination. I had been here in Germany for the birth of my child, so I have come to this touristy destination in the hills, and after this, in about 2 weeks, I am getting back to India. So that is the idea. And but I was piqued at this like ये जो पूरा developing story that has really caught my interest. And I think this is something like Nitish Kumar is somebody whose career I have tracked with a lot of interest for a very long. Somebody whose career I have followed for quite some time, and he's very fascinating because he reminds me of some characters from Game of Thrones who are not very powerful in their own right, but they still managed to somehow cling on to power by playing one side against the other. I think he's done it fascinatingly well over the years. And from the point of view of a student of politics, I think it's quite delightful to watch. I mean, let's face it, he's a master at work. Like, if you look at what happened in 2000, there were two different elections that were held. And एक I think February में हुआ था, एक हुआ था October में, right? And पहली बार I think he resigned in February, and then in the next election, फिर उसके बाद president's rule का spell आया, and then in October he was sworn in, and then उसके बाद इन्होंने जो है manage कर लिया था government चलाना. And उस बार भी इनकी जो सीटें थी वो बीजेपी से कम थी, but he managed to oblige the BJP into making him the chief minister. And since then, what has happened is that, so it's been pretty much the same for him. And he thought that he had a very secure thing going on with the BJP. But then, when the BJP started rising as a truly national force, and he realized that they might poach his vote bank, then that is when he started having second thoughts. And there is one more point that I would like to make. I don't know whether people remember this, but Nitish actually lost the post-emergency election in 1977 when he contested from his own constituency,
Right.
which is a constituency that is dominated by people from his caste. So he was never a mass leader, but I have always been really impressed by the manner in which he has reserved the chief ministership for himself. So what it speaks to is his capacity to bargain, because इतना अच्छा वो बार्गेनिंग करते हैं कि वो बीजेपी से भी चीफ मिनिस्टर बन जाते हैं और आरजेडी से भी बन जाते हैं.
So what do you think is the
मुझे
reason
लेकिन
now behind whatever is happening? What's your analysis of why he actually made that move?
So I think what happens now is very like वो उसका जो है वो जो कह रहा है वो मतलब it makes political sense for him to do what he did, because he has seen what has happened in Maharashtra, right? And if you talk to people in the Bihar BJP, they know for a fact कि ये ज़्यादा दिन जो है matlab they would not have let his party survive. Now his son is not somebody who's particularly interested in politics in the first place. So I think Munger mein, I think he teaches yoga or studies yoga. I'm not very sure. And his son is not interested in politics. There is no clear succession plan. And the unique part about his party is that like apart from being a clan network, like most regional Indian political parties that are based on caste are, it's also something of a personality cult. There is nobody to carry forward that personality cult. So even the BJP knew that he was something of a stopgap arrangement, and even he, I mean, see, I am being very blunt here. If he had not taken the step that he did, uh, the party, like his party would have either broken because or the BJP would have poached some maybe a critical strength of his MLAs away. Because see, ultimately, the thing with these regional parties is that they cannot, of course, like they cannot match the BJP when it comes to money and clout at the center.
Right.
आप वो कर ही नहीं सकते because like there is of course no comparison whatsoever. And when it comes to funding, also there is no match between the BJP and even the Congress, leave alone these small regional parties. So they find it really difficult to keep their flock together because it's a bit like a, yeah, then it becomes something like a contest between Roman legions and some Germanic chief deep in the Black Forest or something like that. That's the kind of analogy I can give because I'm in Germany right now. तो ये बहुत डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है इनके लिए तो उसके लिए फॉर नीतीश इट मेक्स solid political sense what he did. If I were in his position, I would do the same because like he cannot wait till all of his MLAs are poached or all of his MLAs feel that the BJP can offer them a better deal and all of them resign and then they get elected on the BJP ticket.
Right.
I am not very enthused. Like the other dimension is that some people are now saying that he should be anointed as the PM candidate. So I think he's too canny an operator to know that wo nahi hone wala hai. It is very, very difficult. Like even like if you look at the opposition ranks, there are people like Mamta Banerjee who have won not one but three elections on their own steam. But ultimately, like you can say that there is some hope for him in case like the BJP comes below 272 and then he is some sort of a compromise candidate for the opposition. But as the Maharashtra experience has shown, or as the Karnataka experience has shown us, these coalition, or even what happened in Madhya Pradesh has shown us, these coalitions cannot govern, cannot last for very long. And let us face it, even the Maharashtra coalition stayed on for as long as it did because of COVID and because, yeah, I mean, owing to COVID, all activity in the country came to a halt almost for 1 year. Not just political activity. So otherwise, it would not have survived for as long as it did. मुझे तो लगता है कि as I said कि the next few weeks and months would be very very interesting in Bihar, and so what I would put my money on is that this coalition will fall apart before 2020. That's what
But
my
say
sense is because
hypothetically, if Nitish even has ambitions, to become the prime minister, I mean, it would be natural for any leader to have those aspirations. How how much do you think there is in terms of a bandwidth for the opposition to allow this to happen? Because we've seen when it comes to Mamta challenging Sonia's supremacy in terms of being the principal opposition leader, the Congress has never been comfortable in terms of that recently.
so I would actually not be surprised, like in a scenario where let us say the BJP, for some, I don't see that happening at the moment, but as they say, like a week is a very long time in politics. So let us say that something momentous happens and the BJP is reduced to around 200 seats, right? So in that situation, I will not be surprised if Nitish emerges as some sort of a compromise candidate, because the thing with Nitish is that everybody knows that he's harmless for the simple reason that he just does not have any political clout of his own. I mean, somebody who lost an election after the emergency in a state like Bihar, which was at the forefront of protest, I mean, you can figure out what sort of political clout he had, right? And there is also a very famous story which Sankarshan Thakur talks about in his book, and it pertains to how Lalu Prasad Yadav bounced him out of this government guest house because he thought he didn't think very highly of him. Like they had some spat over some issue. So these two go back a very long time and they have a very checkered history. And yeah, but as I said, like for him, what he has done makes political sense. But even he's too smart to know that he's not going to be chief minister. And I will actually not be surprised if something similar to what happened with the Shiv Sena happens in Bihar. Because he ultimately, like any JDU legislator would be fully aware कि भाई ये लोग मेरे लिए क्या कर सकते हैं, right?
Correct.
जो हमारे लिए बीजेपी नहीं कर सकती.
So
Like
what
if
does
you
this mean
join.
for the RJD then? Because they seem to be in a
So
different.
for the RJD, it makes perfect sense to do whatever they've done because see, the thing with these parties is कि इनका कोई like they don't have as many corporate sources of funding as the BJP does, right? And now the BJP also has a government in Mumbai. And इन लोगों के पास ऐसे कोई funding के sources होते नहीं. And Bihar is like not to put too fine a point on it, it's a very heartbreakingly poor state. So even otherwise, there is no corporate activity. So since there is no corporate activity, then compared to the rest of the country, there is not so much money that comes to the coffers of any political party. So for them, it makes perfect sense to do whatever they have done. They know that Nitish has been like his political career is on its last legs, and they want to mop up whatever remains of his vote bank. And for these parties, what we need to understand is that even if they are in power for 6 months to a year, it's a big thing for them because they can then gather revenue or gather money, which would enable them to fight the next election. So that is why it makes perfect sense for the RJD to do what they did. But I don't think either party trusts Nitish completely. As of now, the BJP actually hasn't made so much of an effort to make him stay.
Yeah.
Maybe he expected the BJP to make more than an more of an effort to make him stay, but बीजेपी
But
ने
it's
ऐसा
not in
कुछ
the
नहीं किया
BJP's
उसके
style
लिए
to do that.
BJP
हाँ, बिल्कुल. But it's not in the BJP's style to do that anymore, to appease to regional leaders or coalition leaders because they enjoy that comfortable majority. So I think they have a sense of clout in that sense with approach to.
they have a sense of clout and like अगर आप मतलब एक दो थोड़ा सा और अगर आप analysis करो we go back to 2014 right so
Yeah.
he contested the Lok Sabha election on his own steam मेरे ख्याल से उसकी 2 सीटें आई थी और वो एक वो थी जो उसकी होम कंस्टिट्यूएंसी थी तो
Right.
उसको भी पता है उसकी क्या सच्चाई है like he did that and then after that he allied with लालू प्रसाद यादव तो उसको अब कोई ऐसा कोई डिल्यूजन नहीं रह गया है कि मेरी सच्चाई क्या है या मैं कितनी सीट ला सकता हूँ कितना मैं यूजफुल हो सकता हूँ ही इज नॉट डिलूडेड लाइक तो फिर मतलब लेकिन वही बात रह जाती लाइक व्हाट इट कम्स डाउन टू इज कि भाई now the BJP is not appeasing me right and the BJP might and my party members might desert me for the BJP any moment
Yeah.
so as of now I'm getting a better deal from this guy as of now
Which
I'm
do you
getting a
think
better deal
this
from
will
this guy
actually impact the BJP? Because now राज्यसभा की strength के बारे में बातचीत हो रहा है कि this would actually impact the strength in the Rajya Sabha and that BJP would actually find it very difficult to pass legislations.
इसका तो मैंने अभी तक फिगर्स चेक किए नहीं है तो मैं उस पर कमेंट नहीं कर सकता बिकॉज दिस इज अ वेरी न्यू डेवलपमेंट बट मुझे नहीं लगता उसमें कोई बहुत ज्यादा समस्या आने वाली है बीजेपी को राज्यसभा में लेजिस्लेटिव एजेंडा में तो मुझे नहीं लगता कोई बहुत ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम आएगी सी अल्टीमेटली लाइक एंड आई कीप सेइंग दिस ऑल द टाइम the advantage with the BJP is that it is the only political party in the country. The others are either personality cults or they are clan networks. So then फिर मतलब like I gave you the example of the Roman Legion, right? तो एक तरफ आपका एक professional Roman Legion है और दूसरी तरफ कोई एक जंगल में बैठा हुआ है कोई warlord है. So every now and then, yes, since it's your terrain and everything, you will win battles here and there. But ऐसे like you can't defeat that kind of juggernaut और उसको आप हराना becomes like to defeat them on a sustainable basis that becomes very difficult. We saw that in Maharashtra, right? There were a lot of liberals who were very happy, like they were exulting कि यार ये हो गया and this model whatever we'll replicate it across the country whatnot कुछ नहीं हुआ nothing happened and so that's the thing so if you have a coherent ideology and ultimately the BJP is ideology is that India is one country and we should celebrate everything that unifies the country or celebrate whatever the whole country has in common. So this is also not something that is particularly exceptional और उसके सामने like आपके छोटे छोटे कास्ट वगैरह के नेटवर्क हैं तो वो नहीं आप उनको मैच कर सकते.
Right.
You can't defeat the BJP.
You know, one more interesting character in the entire equation is you may call him a non-entity, but it's Prashant Kishore who keeps on coming in the news now and then. So, you know, is he someone to be even taken seriously in, you know, as far as Bihar politics stands today? How does
प्रशांत किशोर ने तो पहले भी उन्होंने ट्राई किया था like he wanted to be in politics and from what I have known after 2014 he was really interested कि बीजेपी में उसको मतलब जो नया सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट है उसमें कुछ पॉलिसी मेकिंग रोल वगैरह मिल जाए because I think he fancies himself as some sort of an expert on health policy and that is what he is always wanted. But कोई उसको यार seriously मतलब nobody is really taking him seriously and ultimately see for him he keeps pushing these things in the media for a reason like वो ये सब बातें उनके मीडिया में उनके जो फेवरेट जर्नलिस्ट है जो उनके व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप वाले हैं वो डालते रहते बिकॉज उसका बड़ा सिंपल रीजन है उसको अगला कॉन्ट्रैक्ट चाहिए अपना राइट बिकॉज जहां पर भी नेक्स्ट इलेक्शन होता है ही विल ऑफ कोर्स वांट अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एंड दीस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स आर वेरी एक्सपेंसिव और उसको एक पूरा इकोसिस्टम होता है मतलब उससे वो बनता है मतलब जैसे एक उसको कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मिलता है तो वही अकेला नहीं होता जो बेनिफिट करता है राइट बिकॉज जो पैसा उसको उस पार्टी से मिलता है वो आगे नीचे तक जाता है लाइक जो जर्नलिस्ट कवर कर रहे होते हैं उसको जाता है बिकॉज आई रिमेम्बर ये इन 2017 के इलेक्शन में भी उसने कैंपेन बनाया था जो यूपी का इलेक्शन हुआ था तो ये जो यूपी के लड़के वर्सेस जो बाहरी वाला कैंपेन था तो आप एक और चीज देखिए हर इलेक्शन में उसका लगभग थीम वही होता है कि जो रीजनल पार्टी है वो वहां के लड़के हैं और ये बीजेपी वाले बाहरी है पता नहीं पाकिस्तान से आए या मार्स से आए तो आपको याद होगा कि एक इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स में एक जर्नलिस्ट थी रोहिणी सिंह जो बड़ी फेमस जर्नलिस्ट है उन्होंने मतलब लोग उनकी टाइमलाइन पे जाते थे उसको आप आखिरी दिन तक उस टाइमलाइन को पढ़ो तो आपको लगता था ट्विटर पे कि यार दिस इज सम सॉर्ट ऑफ अ पैरेलल यूनिवर्स राइट एंड उसके बाद क्या हुआ व्हाट हैपेंड आफ्टर दैट वाज कि जब एक बार इलेक्शन खत्म हो गया तो उन्होंने अपना जो है प्रोफाइल को आई थिंक या तो गायब कर दिया या बहुत दिन तक प्राइवेट बना के रखा तो द पॉइंट इज जस्ट दिस कि वो उतना जो कर सकता जो उसके फेवरेट पत्रकार है उनके साथ मिलके वो एक हवा बनाने का काम करता है बट he has to keep showing people that he is useful because मतलब वरना कोई बेवकूफ नहीं बनेगा राइट he has to also show कि वो ऐसी कोई सर्विस दे रहा है जो मतलब यूजफुल है और कोई दे नहीं सकता
यूपी के इलेक्शन के पहले भी ये हुआ था because I remember seeing these tweets and there was a crowd where Akhilesh Yadav was addressing and I think you know there was an entire PR campaign behind it and अगर आप वो pictures या videos you know if you have to look at it you would think that these guys are forming the government with the way in which certain sections of the media actually portrays it.
ये उसका यूएसपी है वो ये यही करता है दैट इज हिज यूएसपी तो व्हाट ही डज इज कि वो 10-20 पत्रकारों को पकड़ लेगा एक व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप की खबर भी चली थी बंगाल के इलेक्शन के टाइम पे उसके व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में वो फीड कर रहा था तो वो व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप से फीड करता है इन लोगों को इन्फॉर्मेशन और फिर ये लोग जो है अपने ट्विटर टाइमलाइन के थ्रू हवा बनाने की कोशिश करते हैं और अगर कोई पॉलिटिशियन इतना बेवकूफ होता है बिकॉज इस कंट्री में लाइक बहुत ज्यादा हाई इंटेलिजेंस कोशेंट के लोग भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अलावा और मैं नहीं कह रहा भारतीय जनता पार्टी में भी बहुत इंटेलिजेंट लोग हैं मतलब बहुत इंटेलिजेंट व्यक्ति नहीं जाता तो उसको ये लगता है और खासतौर पे जो प्रोविंशियल पॉलिटिशियन होता है वो ये देखता है कि भाई ये एक तो अंग्रेजी बोलता है राइट ही इज इंग्लिश स्पीकिंग तो जो इंग्लिश स्पीकिंग व्यक्ति होता है वो कोई सबॉल्टन बेचारा जो है गरीब गांव का आदमी उस पर वैसे भी उसका आतंक छा जाता है राइट तो अंग्रेजी का जो आतंक है प्लस अंग्रेजी पढ़े लिखे पत्रकारों का अंग्रेजी अखबारों में लिखने वाले पत्रकारों का जो आतंक है उसको ये एनकैश करता है और अपना करोड़ों रुपए कमा लेता है तो वो देखो उसका बिजनेस मॉडल है बट क्या उसके आने से कोई फर्क पड़ता है ये तो मुझे डाउट है मतलब मुझे नहीं लगता उसके आने से या कोई किसी को भी जरा भी फर्क पड़ता है या वो एक भी वोट इधर से उधर कर सकता है मुझे तो नहीं
Thank you so much for joining us today and
थैंक
extremely
यू